Hi, Geoff here from GCT Property. Today I'm with Gareth, very experienced mortgage broker from Thrive Financial Group.
Hey, how are you?
Good. So thank you, Gareth, for putting a bit of time aside today. So I know borrowing costs, and getting the right loan structure is really, really important. I know you've had a good rounded background, I think, growing up. So just please briefly explain about your journey to get to where we are today as a mortgage broker.
Probably a bit different to some, I'd say, in my industry now. I actually left high school with no formal qualifications other than a high school certificate and went into construction, as a lot of people do in Australia. It's a very lucrative industry. It's quite easy if you're in there for long enough to climb the ranks and get qualifications. So I left high school, went out as a dogman, which basically works with cranes.
Right.
From there, I sort of worked my way up the ladder, got into crane operating. That then led me out to the mines where I was working a fly in, fly out roster. And so I got to meet, as you'd imagine, lots and lots of different people from all walks of life, and did that for probably about 6 years. So
Wow.
I was lucky enough to travel Australia and worked in some very secluded and isolated spots. So it was actually a great way to see the country.
I agree. I was in the building trade myself, and
Yep.
It gives you a really grounded background and upbringing. And in terms of finance, we can't purchase a property without getting a loan approval.
Yeah, well, that's sort of the second half of my career, if you will. Got to a point in the mining career that I had where I decided it's time to get serious and buy a property. I think that was about 2015. And as you can imagine, there's a big problem with people in construction at the moment, is that you're very money rich, but very time poor.
Right.
So I identified that there was an issue there. I reached out to, we should all do, and friends and family, and asked, how do I solve this problem? And that was when they referred me to a mortgage broker. So without a mortgage broker, there was no way I was ever going to find the time to get into a bank. I was, I guess, fortunate enough where on my week off I could have, but a lot of the problems that we see today with the young men and women that we talk to on construction sites and that come from construction, they work 6 days a week. They start work at 6 a.m., 6 to 7 a.m., they finish at 4 to 5 p.m. and then they work a half day Saturday. So we find that these people have got lots of money or lots of ability to earn money, and they've got very limited time in which they can go and speak to the right people. So
Right.
I think if you're in that industry, or any industry for that matter, that is very time consuming or demanding, it's even more important today that you find the right people that you've got in your corner, like yourself, like a mortgage broker, an accountant. All these sorts of people can work with you, work for you, and help you find those solutions.
Yeah, I think that's really some interesting points that you mentioned, Gareth. That talk about construction and people. We're all busy. We've got when you're growing up, you have families, other commitments, time poor. And on a personal note, I've always used finance specialists myself rather than going to the bank direct.
Yeah.
Find them much easier. So please explain some of the benefits of a mortgage broker for those that are considering both options.
Benefits of a mortgage broker, well, I mean, for starters, you don't have to drive anywhere, right? So mortgage brokers typically all work online. We have no borders. We can work anywhere in Australia. And we have access to around, I know on my panel is about 65 lenders.
Wow.
So if I was to say to you, Geoff, go and explore your options and go and drive around to 65 banks, probably wouldn't do that, right?
No, it wouldn't happen.
So, one phone call to a mortgage broker, an email. I think everybody in their network has someone that knows a mortgage broker.
Sure.
So it doesn't take long to reach out, have a discovery call, explain what you're looking for or what your problems are, and that mortgage broker should be able to resolve those through one of their many lenders on the panel.
Yeah, I think we've had some great case studies of that, of clients that have come to our business wanting to get a loan and wanting to buy a property, and they haven't qualified under the sort of traditional lending criteria. And I know having a creative person there can look at all the products and the different lending, and the policies I know are always changing.
Yeah, well, and just to sort of echo what you said, I don't know how many clients I've spoken to now that have said, oh, I've gone to this bank, I've gone to that bank, they've told me I can't do this, they've told me I can't do that. Okay, you've gone to the wrong bank, but unfortunately, like I said, you don't have the time in your day to go and explore every single option. So if you go to a mortgage broker and you say, I've got this problem, or I can't do this, there's every opportunity that they're going to be able to find that solution. And we were talking off camera about rentvesting, so as everybody would be aware, the market is increasing rapidly, and for those that are in, they're obviously reaping the rewards, and for those that aren't, it's getting harder and harder. The Australian dream of having a home is getting harder and harder.
Yes,
so
definitely.
We've had to think more creatively as well. So how do we help those people that might not be able to afford to buy their first home? Well, we look at rentvesting, which is obviously your specialty in finding the right property, yielding and growth, and it's sort of up to me to then find the fit for those clients that can't necessarily afford something to live in, but can afford something to invest in. So in a year or two's time, the equity, the value that they've made, that can then be repurposed into them buying something to live in themselves.
Sure, I think that's a great strategy. We're seeing more and more of it in the industry, and having a good property specialist on this side as well as a good finance specialist. I know we have conversations when trying to help a client onto the property data, sometimes daily, sometimes every few hours, because there's a solution there that needs to be solved. And if you've got a team around you that can help you on both sides, another specialist as well, it's going to make your journey, a lot more successful. And I know from personal experience helping my clients, you work very hard, never a silly question, and you're very responsive as well, which is
I love to talk.
Yeah, and that mate, is a great asset to have. Because we're all waiting on a loan approval, we're nervous, we're not sure how it's going to go. So the fact that you actually pick up the phone and you respond to phone calls and respond very efficiently is a credit. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. And if anyone's out there looking to get on the property ladder or restructure the loans, please reach out to us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.